Jalen Ramsey is on the block from the Miami Dolphins. And at first when I thought about it, I said, no way, I'm good. It was very similar to my takes when it came to the offensive line position, potentially going 16th overall to the Arizona Cardinals in the draft. And then you thought about it, and you were like, well, Justin Fry is the offensive line coach. He did come from Ohio State. Well, it does make sense. If he was able to know better than anyone just how good Josh Simmons is. Now, it could just be due diligence. It probably is for the Arizona Cardinals, because if there's anything that we've learned from their draft invites, their visits, their top 30 visits, it's very clear that this team is casting a wide range from the defensive side and just kind of picking strategically who they want to bring in on the offensive side. It's kind of similar with the Jalen Ramsey stuff. I see Jalen Ramsey, 30 years old, $25 million guaranteed. It would actually technically be like $22 million guaranteed. Someone on social media tried to point that out to me as if I didn't already know that. So about $22 million for 1 year. Probably have to sign him to another deal, but it's probably a 3-year, $30 million deal, $20 million guaranteed. And so I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting a text from my wife right now, and I can't help but laugh. She just texted me that she made a coffee this morning without putting a coffee cup down. So that's on my radar this morning. But back over to more important things, that being the Arizona Cardinals. Jalen Ramsey is someone that would fit this Arizona Cardinals team. And you think about what the Cardinals would have to give up, and you're like, it makes sense. But let's go through it. I'm not advocating for trading for Jalen Ramsey for a first, second, third, heck, even a fourth-round pick. I'm going to be honest with you, a fifth-round pick is starting to push it a little bit for Jalen Ramsey and the Arizona Cardinals. But a fifth-round pick, sixth-round pick, seventh-round pick for Jalen Ramsey, I get it. A potential contract extension from him, that's probably why he wants to be moved from the Rams, from the Dolphins right now. It does make a little bit of sense. And with a little Monty Austin Fort magic, I do think you could bring him to this team, sign him to a contract extension, as long as it's 3 years, $30 million, and it's like $15 million guaranteed. I couldn't care less what the contract says. It's all about the guaranteed money. It will always be about the guaranteed money. Whenever agents leak that their client got 4 years, $120 million, it's always cool. What's the guaranteed money? Because the rest of that is just make-believe money. It's just what makes you feel better. So the Arizona Cardinals looking for a cornerback, and it's been reported that they want to get older at that position. Jalen Ramsey makes sense. But if we're just picking out cornerbacks that I would want for this team, Jalen Ramsey isn't the first guy on my board. And I'm sure he's not for a lot of you. If I were picking between a guy that I would like to splurge on, it'd be Jair Alexander. But if you're looking for Jair Alexander, who's already on this trade block as well with the Packers, that's wildly reported. There's nothing imminent at this time, but they are testing the market to see what's out there. You're not asking for Jalen Ramsey to come in and be a shutdown corner. You're asking for him to come in, mentor young guys, be the sometimes second, probably third best corner on this team, and it does make a little bit of sense for this team to go that route. But if you're looking to get any value out of Jalen Ramsey, this isn't the place you should be looking for. If you're looking to get a number one corner, a clear number two corner, it's Jair Alexander. And if the Arizona Cardinals are looking to improve at that position with a veteran and someone who's going to be able to take the number one wide receiver on the opposing team, not sure how much longer he has, he'll still be 28 through the rest of next year, but that's what makes more sense to me. So I bring this comparison up because you see Jair Alexander and you see Jalen Ramsey on the bottom of your screen, and you're like, yeah, of course I would want Jair Alexander. But he's also going to cost a little bit more. He's probably going to cost you a third-round pick. And he's going to want another contract extension, probably similar to what Jalen Ramsey did have. And so if you're just going down that route, Jalen Ramsey makes a lot of sense. Because if you're not willing to spend all the money that it's going to take to get Jair Alexander, or a third-round pick for what it would likely take to get Jair Alexander, maybe even a second-round pick, the NFL GMs are kind of dumb. Maybe it does make sense that the Arizona Cardinals would go after him because they want to make this room older. He could be able to mentor Garrett Williams, mentor Max Melton, two guys who showed some promise last year, especially Garrett Williams, but Max Melton definitely more raw coming out of Rutgers. It would make a lot of sense to enter him in there. And the one thing that I think this Cardinals team is really missing is a leader. Yeah, I saw some other people's reaction of Jalen Ramsey, and it was like, oh, he's not a Monty Austin Fort guy. Oh, he's not someone who's going to go out there and be a leader. I wholeheartedly disagree. The things that he used to do to get his money with the Jaguars and the Rams years ago, that was kind of all just nonsense cornerback things that those guys do. They've got big egos, but it doesn't mean he can't be a leader. And I like his ability to come in and mentor some of these guys. And Jalen Ramsey, for all extensive purposes, I know some people point this out. Yeah, he is a rotisserie chicken. He is a bit cooked. The issue is, that's not what you're asking him to do that for. It's a low-risk, high-reward proposition where the Cardinals have had success with guys like these in the past. I'm talking about an Antonio Cromartie. I'm talking about a Marcus Cooper from years ago, who some of you don't even know who I'm talking about. But they have had success with those kind of guys. So if it's only going to cost you a late-round pick for Jalen Ramsey and a contract extension that isn't going to break the bank and it's got $15 to $20 million guaranteed, then I'm all in. And the Cardinals should go out there and do it. And I got to be honest with you, I do think the Cardinals will be very aggressive in going after Jalen Ramsey. Watching the show, you're not getting reporting. You're just getting someone who's reading the tea leaves. And Jalen Ramsey does make a lot of sense for this team. And as much as I look at a guy like Jair Alexander, someone who is going to be a number one type of cornerback, maybe a really high-end two at this point of his career, you ask yourself, is that worth the risk? The third-round pick and then likely adding another contract onto that, or potentially even a second-round pick and adding a contract onto that, similar to what Jalen Ramsey gets. So, as much as it would be fun to get Jalen Ramsey, more than anything, this is not a desperate spot for the Cardinals to be. This is a perfect spot for them to be, because they are in a spot to say, no, we're good, and no one else would bat an eye. But they're also in a position to say, yeah, you know what? That does make sense. We have the money to do so. We have the picks to do so. And heck, I think it would be fun to take a flyer out on this guy to make it to where the Arizona Cardinals have a clear mentor on their team to guys like Garrett Williams, guys like Max Melton or Starling Thomas. And that's what they need. And then even on top of all of that, if you put Jalen Ramsey on this team, you are then pretty much set in the cornerback room, barring injuries, which you can't really predict any of those types of things. But bringing Jalen Ramsey onto this team allows you to continue to go any which direction you want in the draft. If Will Johnson doesn't fall to you to 16, a guy that I really like, it's not a big deal. You got Garrett Williams, Starling Thomas, Max Melton, Jalen Ramsey back there. Not to mention Jalen Thompson, Budda Baker. Both good guys in coverage, not Budda Baker one-on-one, but in zone, those types of guys make your cornerbacks better. And so if that's the case, you don't have to be tempted to go get a cornerback. You can just stand put, go get an edge rusher, and you continue to elevate this floor of this defense. I continue to use that phrase because I don't see anywhere where this Cardinals defense is going to be elite this year. I'm not in that retrospect. But what I will say is, man, it's mightily improved. The pass rush is better. The linebackers still need a little bit of work. The secondary is mostly pretty good. And then you add Jalen Ramsey to that, and it just helps tie that core together just a little bit tighter. And you have a guy that's won before and a guy that players can look up to. So at first, when I saw the Ramsey thing, I was like, thanks, but no thanks. You're not asking him to come in and be elite level Jalen Ramsey. You're asking him to come in, mentor your younger guys, Garrett Williams, Max Melton, tie the core together a little bit, and it's not going to cost you anything. It costs you a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick, maybe multiple 6th round picks, maybe multiple 7th round picks. But for all extensive purposes, it's going to be a day 3 pick for Jalen Ramsey and likely a contract extension that looks big but doesn't have a lot of guaranteed money on it, so it doesn't really matter. So the more I talk about it, the more I'm talking myself in to going and getting Jalen Ramsey. And then it makes a lot of sense from a leadership standpoint, from a developmental standpoint, and from a draft standpoint, where you're someone that you don't have to go after Will Johnson if he doesn't fall to you, or panic and take a different cornerback in the draft because you're already set there. So Jalen Ramsey to the Cardinals, not only do I expect them to go after him, I do think he would be on the short list of teams that he would want to go play for. I don't think Jalen Ramsey wants to go play for, I don't know, the Las Vegas Raiders or some team that has zero chance of competing this year. I do think he would want to continue to compete, wear somewhere that he can get paid and be a leader and help develop guys. And he's physical. He does fit the bill of what Jonathan Gannon likes in his cornerbacks. He's physical. He's not afraid to tackle. He's a trash talker. He's big. All those things really follow suit with what Jonathan Gannon likes on his team. So it's not me saying you have to trade for Jalen Ramsey, because that's not the case. The Cardinals will be just fine without him this year. You're not going to get into week 9 and say, oh man, if we just traded for Jalen Ramsey, this team would be a shoo-in 1 seed. But what you will say is wow, is Garrett Williams kind of stepping up his game a little bit? Is Max Melton starting to take that second-year leap? And that's what Jalen Ramsey does for your team. So as much as some people kind of shut the door on it at first, and I did as well, I do think it makes sense to have him come onto this team if you're not willing to go out and spend for Jair Alexander or trade for Jair Alexander. Whatever that looks like in any sense. Giving him a new contract and giving up kind of premium draft capital to go get him. If you don't want to make that happen, I get it. You're not in desperate need of him either. But a good supplemental to that or a concession plan is Jalen Ramsey. So, I as much as have been talking about it, I'm starting to talk myself into it. I do expect the Cardinals to be in on Jalen Ramsey. And I think it'd be I think it would be not a failure, but I think it would be a little frustrating if they just slammed the door on it as well, especially for a team's defense who wasn't elite last year. And it's not going to, cost them anything in terms of money or draft capital. It is a true low-risk, high-reward proposition for Jalen Ramsey to the Cardinals, and that's why it makes a lot of sense for me.